June opened his eyes to darkness. His head hurt. His body ached. The cold metal floor beneath him was unfamiliar. He tried to move but found his wrists bound with glowing blue restraints. This was not good. As his eyes adjusted to the dim light, June could make out the shape of his cell. It was small, maybe 8 feet by 8 feet. There was a simple bed platform attached to the wall and a small sink and toilet in the corner. The front wall was clear, some kind of energy barrier that hummed softly. "You are awake, human," a voice said from outside the cell. The speaker was tall with bluish skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. A Confederation guard. June sat up slowly. "Where am I?" "Prison ship Dominance. You were captured during the Battle of Nexus." The guard seemed bored. 3 years into this war and you humans still think you can win?" Memories came back to June in flashes. His squad had been on a reconnaissance mission. They were ambushed. There was shooting, explosions, and then nothing. He was the only human here, as far as he could tell. "When do I get to talk to someone? About prisoner rights?" June asked. The guard made a sound like laughter. "Prisoner rights? You are human. You are lucky to be alive. The general wanted all of you executed, but the royal family insisted on taking prisoners." The guard pressed a button and the energy barrier disappeared. "It is time for common area. All prisoners get 1 hour. Move." June was led down a long corridor lined with similar cells. Most contained alien species he recognized from battle. Briefings. The 4-armed Ravashi, the insectoid Klaxi, even a few Bentari with their stone-like skin. All species that had rebelled against Confederation rule at some point. Now they were all here together. The common area was a large circular room with tables and benches bolted to the floor. Guards stood at each exit, weapons ready. About 30 prisoners of various species milled around, keeping to their own kinds. They all looked at June with either curiosity or contempt. Humans were rare captures. They usually fought to the death. June found an empty table and sat down. He needed to assess his situation, find weaknesses in the prison, plan an escape. That's when he noticed her. She sat alone, a Confederation citizen by her appearance, humanoid with pale purple skin, large almond-shaped eyes, and silver hair that seemed to float slightly as if underwater. She wore the same gray prisoner uniform as everyone else, but somehow it looked different on her. Better fitting, almost elegant. Unlike the other prisoners, she was watching him with neither hate nor fear, but with open curiosity. After a moment of hesitation, she stood and walked to his table. The room grew quieter. Even the guard seemed to pay more attention. "May I sit?" she asked in perfect universal standard, the common language of colonized space. June nodded, surprised. Confederation citizens rarely spoke to lesser species by choice. "My name is Hana," she said as she sat across from him. "You are human." "Last time I checked," June replied. "Name's June." "Interesting. Our names sound similar despite coming from different worlds." Her voice was soft but clear. "I have never met a human before. Your species is fascinating." "Glad someone thinks so. Most of your people just want us dead." Hana's expression changed slightly. "Not all of us. Some believe this war is unnecessary. A dangerous statement." June looked at her more carefully. "What are you in for? Confederation usually doesn't imprison its own." "I spoke when I should have been silent," she said simply. "Sometimes that is enough." Before June could ask more, a commotion broke out across the room. 2 Ravashi had begun fighting, their 4 arms giving them the ability to both attack and defend simultaneously. Guards rushed in to separate them, but the disturbance spread quickly as other prisoners joined in. "Prison riot," June muttered. He had seen enough of these during military training simulations. They never ended well. The guards activated shock batons. One fired a warning shot into the ceiling. The chaos was spreading toward their table. Without thinking, June moved to Hana's side of the table. "Stay behind me," he said. "I do not need protection," she replied, but she didn't move away. A large Klaxi crashed into their table, mandibles clicking angrily. It lunged at them, but June moved quickly, grabbing the bench and swinging it up to block the attack. The Klaxi stumbled back, then charged again. This time June ducked under its reach and used its momentum to flip it over onto its back. The insectoid skittered away to find an easier target. More guards poured into the room, and soon the riot was under control. Prisoners were being returned to their cells. June noticed that several guards approached Hana with unusual deference. "Prisoner, are you unharmed?" one asked with surprising politeness. "I am well," she answered coolly. "This human prevented any injury to me." The guard looked at June with new interest. "Good. Return to your cells now." As they were led away, Hana whispered to June, "Thank you, though it was unnecessary. I will speak with you tomorrow." Back in his cell, June thought about the strange prisoner. Why would a Confederation citizen be imprisoned for simply speaking out of turn? Why did the guards treat her differently? And why was she so interested in humans? For the first time since waking up in this prison, June felt something other than anger and determination to escape. He was curious. The next day, Hana was waiting for him in the common area. She had many questions about Earth, about human culture and customs. June found himself answering honestly, even proudly. He told her about the mountains near his home, about human music and art, about how humans had united when the Confederation arrived and demanded Earth's submission. "Your people refused to kneel," Hana said thoughtfully. "The Confederation is not used to that." "We're stubborn that way," June replied. 300 other species might have surrendered, but humans don't accept rule from people who call themselves superior. "And if they were truly superior?" Hana asked. "Then they wouldn't need to say it," June countered. "Real superiority doesn't come from better technology or stronger bodies. It comes from how you treat those who have less power than you." Hana looked at him for a long moment. A wise perspective. As days passed, they continued to meet during common area time. June noticed that other prisoners gave Hana a wide berth, and guards always seemed to be watching her, not with suspicion, but with vigilance. It was strange, but June was too grateful for the companionship to question it deeply. 1 week after his arrival, as they sat talking about human resilience, a hush fell over the common area. A high-ranking Confederation officer had entered, surrounded by elite guards. He wore the insignia of a general. "General Tay," Hana murmured, her body suddenly tense. The general surveyed the room with obvious disgust, then his eyes fell on Hana. His expression changed to one of satisfaction, then darkened when he noticed June beside her. "Inspection complete," he announced loudly. "The human prisoner in Section 4 is to be transferred to maximum security immediately." June knew that meant isolation, probably torture. But why single him out? As guards approached, Hana stood up. "That will not be necessary," she said in a voice that somehow carried authority despite her prisoner status. General Tay's face contorted with anger. "You forget your place," he hissed. "And you forget yours," Hana replied evenly. To June's amazement, the general seemed unable to challenge her further. After a moment of tense silence, he turned and left, his guards following. "Who are you?" June asked when they were alone again. Hana smiled sadly. "Someone who needs a friend. Someone who believes this war is wrong." She paused. "Someone who might need your help to escape." June studied her face. There was much she wasn't telling him, but in this place an ally was an ally. And something about her made him want to trust her. "I'm listening," he said. 2 weeks passed since June first met Hana in the prison common area. Each day they grew closer as they shared stories of their worlds. June found himself looking forward to their talks more than he wanted to admit. "Tell me more about how humans adapt," Hana said one day as they sat at their usual table. She always asked such specific questions, as if studying his species. "We have to adapt," June explained. "Humans aren't the strongest or fastest. We don't have natural weapons like claws or venom. Our advantage is here." He tapped his head. "We think, we learn, we change our approach when things don't work." Hana nodded thoughtfully. The Confederation believes strength comes from order and obedience. Your ways seem chaotic, but effective, June countered with a small smile. No one expected humans to hold out for 3 years against the mighty Confederation. No, Hana said quietly. No one did. June studied her face. There was something she wasn't telling him. You know a lot about Confederation politics for a regular citizen. Hana looked away. I was connected to important people before my imprisonment. Before June could ask more, a guard approached their table. Prisoner Hana, your presence is requested in Communication Chamber 3. This was new. Prisoners didn't get calls or messages. June watched as Hana followed the guard out, noticing again how differently they treated her compared to other prisoners. When she returned an hour later, her face was tight with worry. What's wrong? June asked. General Tay is moving forward with his plan, she whispered. He's ordering attacks on 3 more human colonies. How do you know this? June demanded, his voice rising slightly. Please keep your voice down, Hana urged. I have sources who remain loyal to me. Loyal to you? June stared at her. Who are you really, Hana? She hesitated, then sighed. I cannot tell you everything yet, but I am someone who opposes General Tay and his desire to destroy humanity rather than find peace. June wanted to press further, but the desperate look in her eyes stopped him. Why does he hate humans so much? Your rebellion threatens everything the Confederation stands for, Hana explained. For 10,000 years we have brought species into our empire, and all have eventually accepted our rule. But humans fight on, inspiring others to question their place. Tay believes total destruction of Earth is the only way to maintain order. And what do you believe? June asked, watching her closely. I believe there is room in the galaxy for different ways of existing, she said simply. I believe we can learn from each other. After that day, their conversations shifted. Hana began asking detailed questions about human military capabilities and strategies. June was cautious at first, but he soon realized she was genuinely trying to understand human thinking. Your people fight in unusual ways, she noted. Small groups, striking quickly then disappearing. Guerrilla warfare, June explained. When you can't match your enemy's strength, you avoid direct confrontation. Clever, Hana murmured. The Confederation depends on overwhelming force and strict formations. They struggle against unpredictable tactics. In turn, June learned more about the Confederation's structure. Hana spoke of the royal constellation, a family line that had ruled for thousands of years. She described political factions and military hierarchies in surprising detail. The royal family wanted peaceful integration with Earth, she told him one day. It was General Tay who pushed for immediate submission, then war when humans refused. You sound like you know the royal family personally, June observed. Hana gave a small smile. Let us just say I understand their thinking. 3 weeks after June's arrival, the prison routine changed. Security tightened. More guards patrolled the corridors. Rumors spread among prisoners that General Tay was returning for another inspection. He's coming for me, June realized aloud during their common area time. Yes, Hana confirmed. My sources say he wants you transferred to a high-security facility for questioning about human defense systems. Questioning, June repeated bitterly. You mean torture? Hana reached across the table and touched his hand briefly. I will not allow it. How can you stop it? June asked, genuinely curious. You're a prisoner too. Not everyone sees me that way, she said cryptically. Some guards still follow old loyalties. Later that day, as June paced in his cell, he heard raised voices in the corridor. He moved to the energy barrier and strained to listen. The general's orders are clear, one voice said. The human prisoner is to be transferred immediately. And I am telling you, came Hana's voice, stronger and more commanding than June had ever heard, that the human stays here under my protection. You have no authority here anymore. Be careful how you address me, Hana cut in sharply. Remember your oath. There was a tense silence then. As you wish. But the general will not be pleased. When Hana came to the common area, the next day June was waiting. Your protection? He asked without preamble. Who are you to protect anyone here? Hana glanced around to ensure they weren't overheard. I have connections that even Tay cannot completely ignore. For now, that is all you need to know. Not good enough, June insisted. You just prevented a high-ranking general from transferring. A prisoner. That takes more than connections. Hana studied him for a long moment. If I tell you more, it puts us both in danger. Some guards remain loyal to certain interests I represent. But if Tai confirms his suspicions about me, we will both be killed. June leaned forward. I think I deserve the truth if I'm risking my life. You are right, Hana admitted. I am not an ordinary citizen. I was imprisoned because I openly opposed the war against humanity. I believe our peoples could be allies rather than enemies. It wasn't the whole truth, June could see that. But it was more than she'd shared before. Why do you care about humans? He asked. Because I care about the future of the Confederation, she answered. This war is destroying us from within. General Tai uses it to gather more power, to push aside those who seek peace. June considered her words. So you want to escape to stop the war? Yes. Hana nodded. I need to reach people who can challenge Tai's authority, and I need your help to do it. Why me? Because humans think differently, she said with a small smile. You see possibilities where my people see only rules and patterns. And, she hesitated, because I trust you. June hadn't expected that. In 3 years of war, he'd never imagined trusting a Confederation citizen, yet here he was, believing in Hana. If we do this, he said slowly, I need something in return. Of course, Hana agreed. I want to get information back to human forces. Intelligence about Confederation weaknesses, battle plans, anything that could help my people survive. Hana didn't respond immediately. June could see her weighing her options, calculating risks. I can help with that, she finally said. But we must be careful about what information we share. The goal is peace, not giving either side an advantage. To destroy the other. June nodded. Fair enough. So how do we get out of the most secure prison ship in the Confederation fleet? For the first time since he'd met her, Hana smiled fully. The ship will dock at Outpost 7 in 3 days for supplies and prisoner transfer. The security protocols will briefly shift during the docking procedure. There's a small window where the cell barriers will reset. How do you know this? June asked in amazement. I designed some of the security systems, she replied matter-of-factly. Before my current situation, June shook his head in disbelief. You are full of surprises, Hana. More than you know, she said quietly. When we escape, we'll need to reach a communication hub. I can send messages to my allies and you can contact your human forces. And then? June asked. Then we try to end this war before Tay can escalate it further. Hana's expression grew serious. He's developing a new weapon, something designed specifically to target human biology. If he deploys it, Earth dies, June finished for her. Yes, Hana confirmed. And with it, the Confederation's soul. We would never recover from such an atrocity. As guards announced the end of common area time, June and Hana stood to return to their cells. 3 days, she whispered. Be ready. June nodded. For the first time since his capture, he felt hope. But as he walked back to his cell, questions lingered in his mind. Who was Hana really? What weren't she telling him? And could he truly trust someone from the civilization that had been trying to destroy his people for 3 years? Yet something told him to believe in her. Perhaps it was the way she spoke of peace or how she risked herself to protect him from General Tay. Whatever her secrets, June decided, they would face what came next together. In 3 days, they would either find freedom or die trying. The day of their escape arrived. June woke early, his heart beating fast. Today they would either gain freedom or die trying. He had gone over the plan with Hana dozens of times during their meetings in the common area. Every detail had to be Perfect. The prison ship shuddered slightly. They were docking at Outpost 7. A guard appeared at June's cell. Common area time, human. June followed the guard, trying to appear calm. In the common area, Hana was already waiting. She wore the same gray prisoner uniform, but somehow looked different today, more alert, more focused. "Are you ready?" she asked quietly when he sat across from her. June nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be." "When the ship connects to the outpost, all systems will reset briefly," Hana explained again. "The energy barriers will flicker for exactly 6 seconds. We must move then. And after that?" "We go to Docking Bay 3. There's a small diplomatic vessel there. I can access it." "Of course you can," June said with a small smile. "Just another one of your many talents." Hana looked at him seriously. "June, if something goes wrong, if we get separated, but we won't," he assured her. "We stick together." A loud clank echoed through the ship. They had docked. "Get ready," Hana whispered. Moments later, the lights flickered. The energy barriers around the common area wavered. "Now!" Hana jumped up. June was right behind her as they ran to the exit. The guards, distracted by the system reset, reacted too slowly. By the time they raised their weapons, June and Hana were already through the door and running down the corridor. "This way," Hana called, turning left at a junction. They ran past surprised crew members and maintenance workers. An alarm began to sound throughout the ship. "They know we've escaped," June said between breaths. Hana stopped at a control panel and pressed her hand against it. To June's amazement, it lit up with her touch and displayed a ship map. "How did you do that?" he asked. "No time to explain," she replied. "The security teams are converging on this section. We need to take an alternate route." They ducked into a maintenance tunnel, crawling through narrow passages designed for repair drones. The alarm continued to wail, but it seemed distant now. After several minutes, they emerged into a wide corridor lined with official-looking doors. "The administrative section," Hana explained. "It's the fastest way to the diplomatic docking bay." As they hurried down the corridor, a door slid open ahead of them. A Confederation officer stepped out and froze when he saw them. His hand moved toward his weapon. June reacted instantly, tackling the officer to the ground. They struggled briefly, before June landed a solid punch, knocking the man unconscious. "Here," Hana said, picking up the officer's weapon and handing it to June. "You know how to use this better than I do." June took the energy pistol, surprised by her trust. "Won't be long before they find him. We need to move fast." They continued through the administrative section, encountering less resistance than expected. June found it strange how empty the corridors were during an escape alert. "Something's not right," he muttered. "Where is everyone?" "Most likely at the prisoner transfer," Hana replied. "That's happening at Docking Bay 1 on the other side of the ship." When they reached a heavily secured door, Hana approached a guard standing at attention. "Open this door immediately," she commanded in a voice June had never heard her use before. It rang with authority and absolute certainty. To June's astonishment, the guard straightened and touched his chest in what appeared to be a salute. "At once," the guard said respectfully, activating the door controls. As the door slid open, June stared at Hana. "Who exactly are you?" he whispered. "Someone who wants to end this war," she answered, avoiding his eyes. "Come, we're almost there." Bodiwim. Diplomatic Docking Bay was smaller than the main bays designed for official shuttles and representatives' vessels. A sleek silver ship sat on the landing pad, its surface gleaming under the bay lights. "That's our way out," Hana said, pointing to the ship. "The Starlight. It's small but fast." They hurried across the bay floor. No guards were present, which struck June as odd but fortunate. When they reached the ship, Hana placed her hand on the entry panel. The door slid open immediately. "It recognizes you," June observed. "Yes," Hana admitted. "It's programmed to." Inside, the ship was luxurious compared to the prison cells they'd lived in. Soft lighting, comfortable seats, and advanced controls filled the small cabin. Hana moved to the pilot seat and began activating systems. The ship hummed to life around them. "Can you fly this thing?" June asked, taking the co-pilot position. "I've had some practice," she replied, her fingers dancing over the controls with obvious familiarity. The ship's engines powered up, and the vessel lifted smoothly from the docking bay floor. Through the view screen, June could see frantic activity as personnel finally noticed their escape attempt. "They're sealing the bay doors," he warned. "Too late," Hannah said calmly, pushing the throttle forward. The ship shot toward the narrowing opening. For a terrifying moment, June thought they wouldn't make it. Then they were through, streaking away from Outpost 7 and into open space. "They'll send ships after us," June noted, checking the sensor displays. "Already happening," Hannah confirmed. 3 patrol vessels launching now. She guided their ship toward a nearby asteroid field. "We can lose them in there. Confederation pilots follow strict protocols for navigating obstacles. They won't take the risks, we will." "You mean the risks?" "I will," June corrected, taking the controls. "Let me fly, humans are good at improvising." Hannah yielded the controls without argument, watching as June guided the ship into the dense field of tumbling rocks. The patrol ships followed, firing warning shots that lit up the darkness around them. June weaved between asteroids, sometimes skimming so close that the ship's shield sparked against the rocky surfaces. One patrol ship crashed into an asteroid when June made a particularly daring maneuver, cutting back and changing direction suddenly. The second ship fell back, unwilling to follow such a dangerous course. The third continued the pursuit with dogged determination. "That pilot's good," June admitted, spinning the ship around a cluster of smaller asteroids. "It's Captain Minu," Hannah said, studying the sensor readings. He trained under General Tay. He won't give up easily." June noticed her slip but focused on flying. "Then we'll have to be better." He spotted a narrow passage between 2 massive asteroids that were slowly moving toward each other. "Hold on tight." The ship dove into the gap. Behind them, Captain Minu's vessel followed. The asteroids continued to drift closer. "We won't make it." Hannah gasped as the walls of rock seemed to close in around them. "Yes, we will," June replied confidently. He pushed the engines to maximum power, and their ship shot forward, scraping through the narrowing passage with seconds to spare. Captain Minu wasn't so lucky. His ship caught between the asteroids, crushed as the massive rocks collided. "That's the last one," June said, guiding their ship out of the asteroid field. "We're clear." Hannah looked at him with new respect. That was impressive. No Confederation pilot would have attempted such maneuvers. "Human improvisation," June explained with a small smile. "We don't always follow the rule book." Once they were safely away from Outpost 7, Hannah set a course for neutral space. The ship's engines hummed smoothly as they traveled farther from Confederation territory. "Now," June said, turning to face her, "I think it's time you told me who you really are." Hannah was silent for a long moment. "I am someone who can help end this war," she finally said. "Someone with access to information and people who want peace as much as I do." "That's not good enough anymore," June pressed. "I saw how that guard reacted to you. I've seen how you can access secure systems. You're not just some political prisoner." "If I tell you everything," Hannah said carefully, "you might see me differently. You might not trust me anymore." "Try me," June challenged. Before Hannah could respond, the ship's communication system chimed. A message was coming through on all frequencies, a broadcast to the entire Confederation. They both turned to the screen as General Tay's face appeared. "Citizens of the Confederation," he began solemnly, "it is with great sadness that I must report a terrible crime against our people. Princess Yuna of the Royal Constellation has been kidnapped by human terrorists while visiting our outpost." June looked at Hannah in shock. Her face had gone pale. "The princess," General Tay continued, "was on a diplomatic mission when human forces attacked and took her hostage. In response to this heinous act, I am ordering immediate military action against all human colonies. This aggression will not stand." The message ended, leaving them in stunned silence. "Princess Yuna," June said slowly, staring at Hannah. "That's you, isn't it?" Before she could answer, the ship's sensors blared a warning. A human resistance fleet had just appeared on their scanners directly in their path. Hana, or Princess Yuna, looked at June with fear and apology in her eyes. "Now, she said softly. "And now we're trapped between both sides of this war. Hold your position and identify yourself," a stern voice commanded over the ship's communication system. The message came from the largest vessel in the human fleet that had appeared before them. June and Hana, or rather Princess Yuna, sat, frozen in the cockpit of their stolen diplomatic ship. Through the view screen they could see 5 human warships arranged in attack formation. "What do we do?" Hana asked, her voice barely above a whisper. June stared at her, still processing the revelation of her true identity. "You're the princess of the Confederation, the same people who have been trying to wipe out humanity for 3 years. "Yes," she admitted, "but that's not what I wanted. I never wanted this war." "This is Commander Lee of the Human Resistance Fleet Defender." The voice came again, more insistent. "Identify yourself immediately or we will open fire." June reached for the communication controls. "This is Lieutenant June Kim of the 8th Reconnaissance Division. I was captured 3 weeks ago during the Battle of Nexus, requesting permission to board." There was a long pause. Then, "Lieutenant Kim, we thought you were dead. Authentication code required." June recited his military identification code. Another pause followed. "Code confirmed," Commander Lee responded. "Prepare to be brought in by tractor beam. Be advised that we detect a Confederation life form aboard your vessel. Explain." June looked at Hana. "I have a Confederation prisoner. She helped me escape." "Understood. Maintain your position." As the communication ended, Hana turned to June. Her expression hurt. "Prisoner? What did you expect me to say?" June replied, "That I'm bringing the Confederation princess for a friendly visit. They'd shoot us down instantly." Hana nodded slowly. "You're right. I'm sorry." A blue light enveloped their ship as the human vessel's tractor beam engaged, pulling them toward a docking bay. "What will happen to me?" Hana asked quietly. "I don't know," June admitted. "But I won't let them hurt you. You helped me escape. I'll make sure they understand that." When their ship was secured in the docking bay, armed soldiers surrounded it, weapons ready. June and Hana stepped out with their hands raised. Lieutenant Kim, a tall woman in a commander's uniform, approached. "Welcome back to the land of the living." "Commander Lee," June saluted. "Thank you for the rescue." Commander Lee nodded, then turned her attention to Hana. "And who is this?" Before June could answer, another officer rushed into the docking bay, holding a data pad. "Commander, urgent news from Confederation broadcasts. Look at this." The officer handed the pad to Commander Lee. Her eyes widened as she read the screen. She looked up at Hana with new understanding. "So," Commander Lee said slowly, "it seems we have Princess Yuna of the Royal Constellation on our ship." She turned to the soldiers. "Take her to detention level 3, maximum security." "Wait." June stepped forward. "She helped me escape. She opposes the war." "Step aside, Lieutenant," Commander Lee ordered. "This is now a matter of high strategic importance." Soldiers surrounded Hana and led her away. She gave June one last look, not angry, just sad and resigned. "She's not what you think," June insisted to Commander Lee after Hana was gone. "And you're not thinking clearly," the commander replied. "You've been in captivity for weeks. You need medical attention and debriefing. We'll discuss the princess later." June spent the next several hours in the medical bay, then in a debriefing room where officers questioned him about his capture and time in the Confederation prison. He answered truthfully about everything except some details about Hana. He wasn't sure why he felt protective of her secrets, but he did. "I want to see her," June demanded when the debriefing ended. Commander Lee frowned. "That's not advisable. She's a high-value political prisoner. She saved my life," June insisted. "Multiple times. I wouldn't be here without her." After some consideration, Commander Lee nodded. 10 minutes. Under guard. The detention cell was small but clean. Hana sat on a simple bed, her hands folded, in her lap. She looked up when June entered. "I thought they might not let you see me," she said. "I can be persuasive," June replied, sitting across from her. 2 guards stood at the door watching closely. For a moment neither spoke. Then June asked the question that had been burning in his mind. "Why didn't you tell me who you were?" Hana, Princess Yuna, sighed. "At first, I was afraid. I didn't know if you would try to use me as a hostage or worse. Later, when I began to trust you, I worried you would stop speaking freely, that you would see me as the enemy, not as a person." "Is any of what you told me true?" June asked. "About wanting peace, about opposing General Tay?" "All of it," she said firmly. "Tay is my cousin. He staged a partial coup 6 months ago, placing me under protective custody while he took control of the military. He pushed for war when humans refused immediate integration into the Confederation. My family, my parents, wanted cultural exchange first, a slower process of mutual understanding. Where are your parents now?" "Isolated in the royal palace," Yuna answered. "Powerless. Tay controls who sees them and what information reaches them." June studied her face, looking for any sign of deception. He found none. "So what was your plan?" "After we escaped? To reach loyalists who still support my family, to reclaim my authority and end this war before Tay's weapon is completed." "What weapon?" Commander Lee asked, stepping into the cell. She had been listening from outside. Yuna looked at the commander. "General Tay has developed a biological agent designed to target human DNA. It would be painless. He considers himself merciful that way, but it would end all human life within days of deployment." Commander Lee's face hardened. "And we're supposed to believe you want to prevent this? Why would the Confederation princess care about saving humans?" "Because genocide is wrong," Yuna said simply. "Because this war was never supposed to happen. And because the Confederation I believe in doesn't destroy civilizations. It helps them grow." Before the commander could respond, an alarm sounded throughout the ship. A voice came over the communication system. "All personnel to battle stations. Confederation fleet approaching. This is not a drill." Commander Lee rushed from the cell. June stood to follow, then hesitated, looking back at Yuna. "I'll be back," he promised. "June," she called as he reached the door, "if they capture me, Tay will use it to justify destroying Earth immediately. He'll claim humans tried to assassinate me even if it's not true." June nodded grimly. "I understand." He made his way to the command center, where chaos reigned. Below the main screen, a Confederation battle group was visible. 5 massive warships approaching rapidly. "How did they find us so quickly?" an officer was asking. "They must have tracked the diplomatic vessel," Commander Lee replied. "It likely has. Royal tracking systems we can't detect." June watched as human ships moved into defensive positions. The Confederation fleet outgunned them by at least 3-1. "We need to run," Commander Lee ordered. "We can't win this fight." "Wait," June interrupted. "They're here for the princess. They might not attack if they know she's safe." "Or they might destroy us and claim we killed her," another officer argued. "We can't trust them." As they debated, a transmission came through. General Tay's face appeared on the screen. "Human vessels," he began, his voice cold. "You have abducted Princess Yuna of the Royal Constellation. This act of aggression cannot stand. Surrender her immediately, or face destruction." Commander Lee looked at June. "What do we do? If we give her back, we lose our only leverage." June thought quickly. "Let me talk to her. She might have ideas." When he returned to Yuna's cell, he found her standing anxiously by the door. "I heard the alarms," she said. "Tay found us." "Yes," June confirmed. "He's demanding we return you." "And your commander is considering using me as a hostage," Yuna guessed. "It won't work. Tay doesn't care about my safety, only about controlling the narrative." "Then what do we do?" June asked. Yuna's expression became determined. Take me to your communication system. Let me speak to both sides at once. Commander Lee was skeptical, but agreed to the plan. They brought Yuna to the command center and set up a broadcast that would reach both fleets. Citizens of the Confederation, Yuna began, standing tall before the camera, and brave soldiers of humanity. I am Princess Yuna of the Royal Constellation. I was not kidnapped. I escaped from illegal detention with the help of this human soldier. She gestured to June, who stood beside her. General Tay has lied to you. He staged a coup against my family. He pushed for this war when we wanted peace, and now he develops a weapon to commit genocide against humanity. On the screen, they could see confusion spreading through the Confederation fleet. Some ships were breaking formation. I call on all loyal Confederation citizens to stand down, Yuna continued. This war was built on lies. It's time for truth. It's time for peace. The broadcast ended. For several tense moments, everyone in the command center held their breath, watching the Confederation ships. Then a new transmission came through. It wasn't General Tay this time, but an older Confederation officer with a weathered face. Princess Yuna, he said, bowing his head slightly. Admiral Quan, loyal to the Royal Constellation. Your words have reached many who question General Tay's actions. 3 ships in this fleet now stand with you. Before anyone could celebrate, another alarm sounded. A new ship had appeared. General Tay's personal battlecruiser, larger and more heavily armed than any in the field. General Tay's massive battlecruiser loomed in the view screen of the human command center. Its weapon systems were powering up, targeting both the human vessels and the Confederation ships that had declared loyalty to Princess Yuna. All ships, defensive positions, Commander Lee ordered. The human fleet moved to protect their flagship, where Yuna and June stood watching the scene unfold. He won't back down, Yuna said quietly to June. Tay has too much at stake. A transmission came through. General Tay's face appeared on screen, his expression cold with fury. Princess Yuna, he said, not bothering with formal titles. Your behavior is disappointing. These humans have clearly manipulated you. The only manipulation has been yours, cousin, Yuna replied firmly. You've lied to our people. You've betrayed our family's vision for the Confederation. Tay's face hardened. Our family's vision was weak. The Confederation cannot maintain order by treating lesser species as equals. Lesser? Yuna challenged. I've seen humanity's strength firsthand. Not just physical strength, but their adaptability, their creativity, their willingness to stand up for what they believe in. Touching, Tay sneered. But irrelevant. I offer you one chance, Yuna. Return to the Confederation flagship now, and I will spare these human vessels. June stepped forward. Don't trust him, he'll destroy us anyway. I know, Yuna nodded. He always intended to. She turned back to the screen. I refuse your offer, Tay. I stand with humanity against your tyranny. Then you die with them, Tay replied coldly, ending the transmission. He's targeting all vessels, reported a human officer monitoring the sensors. Weapons lock on 3 Confederation ships that sided with the Princess and all human vessels. Can we win this fight? June asked Commander Lee. The commander shook her head grimly. Not against that battlecruiser. It's the most powerful ship in the Confederation fleet. There might be another way, Yuna said suddenly. June, do you remember what I told you about Tai's weapon? The one designed to target human DNA? June nodded. The biological agent. It's on his ship, Yuna explained. He would keep it close, under his personal control. If we could get aboard and destroy it. That's suicide, Commander Lee objected. Not necessarily, June said, thinking quickly. We still have the diplomatic vessel. It has Confederation recognition codes. We might be able to approach undetected during the battle. Commander Lee considered this. Even if you get aboard, how would you find this weapon? I know where it would be, Yuna said confidently, in his personal laboratory adjacent to the command center. I've been on that ship many times before my imprisonment. The commander looked between them, then nodded reluctantly. It's a long shot, but it's the only shot we have. While you approach, his ship will engage Ty's forces to create a distraction. Within minutes, June and Yuna were aboard the small diplomatic vessel, launching from the human flagship as the battle began around them. Weapons fire lit up the darkness of space as human and loyal Confederation ships engaged Tay's battlecruiser and its escorts. "Stay on this approach vector," Yuna instructed as June piloted the ship. "We'll look like a vessel seeking safety in the battle." Their small ship weaved between larger vessels, the chaos of battle providing perfect cover. When they neared Tay's battlecruiser, Yuna activated the ship's Royal Identification Signal. "Docking request from Royal Vessel," she transmitted. "Emergency Protocol 7. "What's Protocol 7? June asked. "Royal Evacuation," Yuna explained. "They'll think Tay is extracting someone important." The strategy worked. A small docking bay on the underside of the battlecruiser opened, allowing their vessel to enter. They landed quickly and June powered down all systems except life support. "No." "Guards," June observed as they exited their ship. "They must all be at battle stations." This way, Yuna led him through service corridors, avoiding the main passageways. She moved with confidence, clearly familiar with the ship's layout. After several tense minutes navigating the massive vessel, they reached a secured door marked with Ty's personal insignia. "His laboratory," Yuna confirmed. She placed her hand on the security panel, but it flashed red. "He's removed my access." June examined the door. "Can we break through?" "Not easily. This door is designed to withstand explosions." June thought for a moment, then smiled. "But it's still Confederation technology. And you told me once that Confederation systems always follow rules and patterns." He moved to an adjacent maintenance panel and pried it open. Inside was a complex array of circuits and controls. "On human ships," June explained as he worked, "we build in emergency overrides for doors like this. I'm betting Confederation engineers think the same way." After several tense minutes, during which they could hear and feel the battlecruiser shuddering under enemy fire, June connected two circuits. The door slid open. "Human ingenuity," Yuna said with admiration. The laboratory beyond was pristine and clinical. In the center stood a glass chamber containing a swirling blue-green substance. "That's it," Yuna said quietly. "The biological agent, designed to target only human DNA while leaving all other species unharmed." June approached the chamber cautiously. "How do we destroy it?" Before Yuna could answer, a voice came from behind them. "You don't." They turned to find General Tay standing in the doorway, energy weapon aimed at them. Two guards flanked him. "I'm disappointed, Yuna," Tay said coldly. "You would betray your own species for these primitives?" "The only betrayal is yours," Yuna replied. "This isn't what the Confederation stands for. We are meant to guide and share knowledge, not conquer and destroy." Tay laughed bitterly. "Your parents filled your head with idealistic nonsense. The galaxy respects only power." "Is that why you staged a coup?" June asked, trying to distract Tay while looking for an opportunity to act. "Because you respect power so much you had to steal it?" Tay's eyes narrowed. "Silence, human. You have no voice here." He turned back to Yuna. "Once you're gone, I'll tell our people you died heroically trying to escape your human captors. Your parents will have no choice but to support my ascension to the throne. And then you'll use that weapon to destroy Earth," Yuna said, gesturing to the chamber. "Of course," Tay agreed. "Humanity is a disease that spreads rebellion wherever it touches. Other species are beginning to question our authority because of human influence. The infection must be removed." While Tay spoke, June had been slowly reaching for a small tool on a nearby workbench. In one swift motion, he hurled it at the overhead lights, plunging the laboratory into darkness. Confusion erupted. Tay and his guards fired blindly. June tackled Yuna to the floor, protecting her from the energy blasts. "The weapon," she whispered urgently. June crawled toward where he remembered the glass chamber standing. He felt its cool surface under his hands. With all his strength, he pushed it over. The crash of breaking glass was followed by an alarm blaring throughout the ship. Emergency lights came on, bathing the room in red. "No!" Tay screamed, seeing the biological agent spilling across the floor. "Do you realize what you've done?" "Saved billions of lives," June answered, standing to face him. Tay raised his weapon, aiming at June's heart. "Then die knowing you saved them temporarily. I will create another weapon." "No, you won't," came Yuna's voice. She had retrieved a weapon from one of the guards in the darkness. Now she stood with it pointed at her cousin. "This ends now, Tay." The ship shuddered violently, rocked by another hit from the battle outside. "Critical damage to engine core," announced the ship's automated system. "Containment failing, evacuation recommended." Tay looked from Yuna to the spilled weapon, then to the flashing warnings on the laboratory displays. His face contorted with rage and defeat. "This isn't over," he spat, then turned and fled the laboratory. "We need to get out of here," June urged, taking Yuna's hand. "The ship is breaking apart." They ran through the corridors, heading back to the diplomatic vessel. Around them, Confederation crew members were rushing to escape pods. No one paid attention to the two figures racing against time. When they reached their ship, June quickly powered up the engines. The docking bay doors were already open as other small vessels fled the doomed battlecruiser. "Hang on," June called as he piloted them out into the chaos of battle. Behind them, Tay's mighty battlecruiser was coming apart, secondary explosions rippling along its hull. They watched on their rear view screen as the ship that had almost spelled doom for Earth broke into pieces and disappeared in a final explosion. June set course back to the human flagship. Around them, the battle was ending as news spread of Tay's defeat. "It's over," Yuna said quietly, watching the Confederation ships. "Stand down." "What happens now?" June asked. Yuna looked at him, her eyes reflecting the light of distant stars. "Now we build something new. Not a confederation that rules, but one that partners with other species, including humans." When they docked with the human flagship, they were greeted as heroes. Commander Lee herself came to meet them. "The Confederation fleet is requesting instructions from Princess Yuna," she informed them. "And Admiral Kwan has already sent messages to the royal family, announcing Tai's treachery and your safe return." In the days that followed, temporary peace accords were signed. Yuna spoke with her parents for the first time in months, explaining all that had happened. The human leadership, initially suspicious, came to see the possibility of a true alliance.